Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play Guacamelee Super Turbo Championship Edition. In the last part, we started off the game and then we went through the, I think it was the Temple of Rain, and fought the Albrija, or at least Bowsered it to death. And now we're back in Play Bluco because we actually need to head over to Hernando's for some reason, but I do want to head over to Combo Chicken really quickly and take care of some of the new combos we can do from the abilities we got in the Temple of Rain or whatever. The Combo Chicken combos on the whole are more or less just tutorials for things you can do yourself, though on the whole as well, you can more or less freestyle the game and be completely fine. Now, something I'm going to apologize for, and if you just heard a bump, I just accidentally kicked my desk. The first few minutes of this video are from a different save file, because when I recorded the first few minutes of this on my main file, there was no audio because my recording program had the wrong program selected to record audio from, so it was just completely muted. So I don't exactly have everything I had at that point, namely I don't have the side quests accepted, I don't have as many heart pieces, stamina, so on and so forth. And this is going to influence one thing, and that is my silver count, because your silver count is actually consistent throughout save files, because I think costumes are just saved to your game. Thankfully, I figured out a way around having to start a new file to redo progress just by copying my save data on my desktop, because there's actually no way to copy your save file in the game. Oh, and also, thank you guys so much for 180 subscribers about a month and a half to 2 months later. This video took a while to get to, mostly just because I procrastinated the ever-living hell out of it. Sorry about that. It won't happen too much in the future. Hopefully. Broken glass and burnt customers today. Oh, that gives me an idea of what's going on in here.
Barkeep! How does anyone get a drink around here? You, boy, have you brought my tequila? What is this, some kind of joke? Another Lucians are looking to be burned like the awful huevos rancheros that this pass for food around here. Bartender! This freaking headache. Prohibition sucked back the first time I was alive. I would have stayed dead if I knew this was all the prison had to offer. You're supposed to be running away by this point. What do you want from me anyways? Well, if you must know, I was cursed by the devil to have my head internally engulfed in flame. I thought burning people alive in my last life would curry his favor in death, but apparently he has a complex about being the one to dole out the suffering. Or at least had a complex until Kalaka terminated that turkey. Alas, there is no way for me to break my curse, but as in life, a little drink can always take the edge off your suffering. You see, there are no spirits in hell, but once the merging of worlds is complete, oh how the fire water will flow. Well, you've been definitely worth a laugh, Luchador, but you wasted more than enough of my time. This hangover worsens with each passing moment, and I am not looking forward to baking in the desert all afternoon. You'll share a parting shot with me, won't you? Clumsy. Oh, come on, no more bullets! Bah, fate has spared you, Luchador, but I assure you, the reckoning at hand will make you wish otherwise. Here, buy yourself a drink. You should relax here in town. I promise there's nothing of interest going on in the desert.
A paltry 15 gold. Thanks. And he locked the door behind him. Oh, what a complete and total gentleman. Well, at least there's an easy way out of here that, for some reason, has the power-up blocks in it. Hi there, you're staring into my soul. Welcome, this is where I live with my barrel collection under the safety of the bar. Barrel collection, huh? Be a shame if someone... Boop. The horror, the horror! No, not barrel hoops! Not Kasky Splinter Face! Stop! Not Great Firkin Round Bottom! Oh, and I've fallen down. This is possible. There we go.
Little Kevin the Keg!
So what do you have to say now that I've completely ruined everything that you've worked towards with your collection? Con, lost entire collection. Pro, time to start again. Ah, an optimist. I have to wonder why there's these blocks in the basement of a bar, though, but it is worth noting you can come down here for a heart piece. And with the second file that I did to get here, I did intentionally collect 2 heart pieces so you can know that on my main file, that was also one that completed a heart container. Or a health extension, rather. So my health is going to be a bit higher than it was when we left off when we get to my main file again in about a minute. Well, thankfully, the tequila basement leads to another building. Holy mackerel! Flameflace just created a huge blockage on the path into the desert. There go my vacation plans. Oh well, at least he's gone. It sounds like the path through the desert is blocked. I know of another passageway through the forest, though I'd hoped to never return there. Let's go to the canal. And if you're playing Guacamelee Gold Edition, this plays out a bit differently. You actually just head right to the forest if my memory, not the forest, the desert if my memory serves. However, in Super Turbo Championship Edition, we need to head to the forest because they added a few new things. And with that, we're back on the main file. So my health is a bit higher as I have the extra stamina. Also, things might visually look a little bit different because I changed the resolution between parts because I realized that the bar was way too small last part. The aspect ratio was just not my cup of tea. Plus, I think this overall just made the frame rate more stable because that was the thing that was happening last part as well. There was just very little stability in what was going on. Either way, let's see what our trip to the forest this time has for us.
Luchador! It's me, Wei Chivo. To my hut, now. We have work to do.
And you don't have to go there yourself, they teleport you to it. Which, you know what, I appreciate. It's kind of a trek.
Step on through to my secret training. It hasn't been used in years. You might have to wrestle some spiders.
Alrighty. Oh, a Chuzu statue. Let's see what you got.
Really? You just walk into someone's house and smash the biggest object in the room? Ah. You know, you're getting stronger, Luchador, but I'm not feeling enough intensity. The power you obtain from that statue will help you really go all out. Allow me to present El Intenso. See that new empty meter up top? That's your Intenso meter. Keep an eye on it. It'll let you know when you're ready to unleash your power. Check out this Intenso charged Alux. It's bursting with energy.
It's basically an Alux, just a bit different looking. Whoa! This is Intenso, a Guacamelee Super Turbo Championship Edition exclusive ability.
Not bad, eh? The Alux's charge transferred to you, get out of the way, and gave you an instant energy boost. Now let me show you how to control it. First, I'll fill your meter. Normally, you'll have to perform combos on your enemies to fill the bar. Once your meter's full, when you're in a tight spot, press both sticks down and release El Intenso.
Essentially, for those of you who have played Devil May Cry, it's a devil trigger. When you fight enemies, the meter slowly gets full. You can even get some little orbs from enemies like we saw with that Alux earlier, and even standard ones. And you unleash yourself, and you're stronger, you have more knockback, and I think you might take less damage. I'm not entirely sure about that last part, though.
Whoa, take it easy there, buddy. We're just practicing. Remember, you can always turn El Intenso back off by pressing both sticks down again. Each time you activate it, you also get a boost to your health and stamina. Well, that should be enough for now. Take my secret exit down there for a shortcut to the canal. And see if you can find a healthy outlet for all that anger. Yeesh.
We're going to be using this throughout the rest of the game, more or less, especially in a lot of loaded areas. I don't like to use it generally for standard fights, but if I have to, I will. And what's interesting is, I believe in one of the game's files, it even refers to something called a devil trigger, which makes me think that the developers of this are fans of Devil May Cry. Either way, now we need to head to the canal. We need to head back to an area where I got an item last part to go there. And I admit, you might see me fumbling about a bit more during this little section here, because I actually haven't played this section as much as I have the rest of the game, mostly because I haven't played Super Turbo Championship Edition as much as Gold. Either way, you do get new items added to the store once you get El Intenso, namely things that make it just last longer, more powerful, so on and so forth, but I have other priorities, namely just making standard Quan stronger. One thing I can say is that it definitely makes the game a bit easier in the long run, because Guacamelee Gold was a comfortable adventure, but there were some fights on the whole that were not bull, but certainly a bit of a spike in difficulty, and El Intenso makes it just a bit more comfortable for you in the long run. And I could buy a new costume with my silver now, but I'm just more or less going to wait till the end game for that, or at least later. Notable, El Intenso, there is an achievement that is very easy to get, especially in this room or in the training area for it, where you need to kill 20 enemies with 1 charge of the bar. If you just keep up the combos, you should be fine. I also want to say this is where I got the achievement on my own profile. That sounds about right. Yeah, just look at how it tears apart the big guys. It's ridiculous. This is going to be your best friend. Well, depending on your playstyle, at least. There are, obviously, if you're the person who tends to use, like, say, if you play Devil May Cry, save your double trigger for more dire moments. You can do the same thing here, and it will help you out there. But if you're the kind of player who uses it the moment you get it during a fight, you're also fine there. Oh boy. Thank God this game actually doesn't damage you for a lot of room hazards. In fact, I can only think of a few that actually outright damage you. The vines, the spikes, and one other we've yet to encounter. Either way, with that, we destroy this block, and here's the door. I forgot to add out that load time. Oh well. Now, first off, I love the music here. Mind you, this entire game soundtrack is great. And we actually have a new enemy here. That are a bunch of axolotls. They actually cannot be outright killed. I don't think you get anything for killing them either. They just do their little jump spinning blade attack, and that's it. Keep an eye on where they're going, and you should be fine. Of course, I take a lot of dumb hits just because, really, I have enough health at this point that they won't actually worry me too much. But if you're new to the game or you have lower HP, I guess they could be annoying. I guess that's actually more what they are. They're more of an annoyance than an actual, like, difficult enemy. Which might be the point. They're there to make the setups for set fights like this more interesting. Now, as I mentioned, I'm going to be fumbling about a bit in this area, mostly because, like I said, I haven't played this game as much as I have Gold Edition, and thus, I don't have where items are or what leads to what exactly is memorized. And even then, like I said last part, I'm not going for 100% when I first enter an area. I'm getting what I can along the way, but for the most part, like with a lot of Metroid-like games, at the end of the game, I'm more or less going to backtrack and get everything. And when I mean end of the game, I mean like right before the final area in this game's case, for those who have played it before. Well, hello there. You were at the President's Mansion earlier. Also, isn't this a reused bridge graphic from the forest? I think it is, actually. One thing I do have to say about early on in the game, at least, is I think the enemy variety isn't the best. And even then, with what they have, they try to stay interesting, but they kind of fall flat in some ways with it. Because there's only so many ways that the same 4 enemies can be really interesting with what we have at the moment. And that's why you don't rush ahead. I don't know why in particular, but compared to some of the other Metroidvania type titles, I tend to rush ahead a bit more in Guacamelee. Maybe it's just due to the way the levels are designed, I'm not entirely sure. Mind you, compared to some other Metroid-like titles, I do have to say that I think Guacamelee is a bit more restrictive in what you can do, because there's usually only one solution to something, at least at the point in the game you're intended to do it. And you know what, that's a fine way to design games, but for people who like the more open Metroidvanias. But for people who like the more open Metroidvanias, as I was saying, I can see that being a detractor. Also, I don't know why I stayed silent for that. I guess it's because it's the rare, like, notable cutscene. Now, something I find really funny is that since the first episode has come out, and me getting to recording this and editing it and all that, the sequel to this game that I talked about in part 1 came out. I haven't played it yet. It's in my Steam library because one of my friends gifted it to me despite me saying, no, I'll buy it myself. You know who you are. But I'm waiting more or less, not until I'm done with this LP to do it, but I'm definitely waiting until later to play it when I have more hard drive space, because the school semester is starting up at the time this is uploaded within a few days, if not tomorrow, depending on how long this takes to render and re-encode. And I just find that funny, because it reminds me in some ways of a certain other LPer who was doing Xenoblade, where in the time that he was on a break for that, not only did Shulk get announced for Smash, Smash came out and the 3DS the new 3DS version of Xenoblade was revealed. I forget if that was released. It's been a while since I watched that particular LP. Mind you, I say that, but me adding those details and almost basically a direct paraphrase from one of the videos in that series basically confirms who it is. Either way, now we have the closest thing to an elevator section I can think of in this game for what's more or less in some ways a beat 'em up. We just have a bunch of skeletons coming at us on this little raft ride. And by the way, I have to say, I haven't mentioned it yet, but I love the way this area looks. I don't want to say it has the most color variation out of all the areas, but compared to some of the other areas in the game, there's definitely quite a few more colors in the level design going on. Mind you, I have to say, on the whole, I think I mentioned it last part, I love the way this game looks, how it mirrors traditional Mexican art and stuff. It looks fantastic. Now, one thing I guess I could have done by this point is switch to Tostada, mostly just because she is slightly faster with her attacks. And I would usually do that on my main playthroughs, but so far I just felt more comfortable sticking with Guan. Mostly for narrative reasons, I admit, but depending on how you play the game, it works out a bit differently, I guess. And that's the end.
You skeletons think you can reach us up here? Not a chance. Take this. Bombs away!
And now we just have to avoid the bombs. Thankfully, the water doesn't damage you, so you can just jump into it and avoid all damage. Or I can stick more or less to the far right, I guess.
Wait a second. You're not like those skeletons. How did you get here? One sec, I'll help you up, and then you can explain yourself.
Alright, let's see what we got up here after I almost forget to take the piñata. Whoa, you... wow.
Sorry for the potatoes, amigo. It's my turn on the lookout, and I'm a little jumpy. We've got the village on lockdown, and we're not giving up without a fight. Seeing as you're not one of those skeletons, you're welcome here. As for me, I'll continue to stay on guard. Always on alert. Never blinking. Never sleeping. Sleep. Do you, think about life and, stuff? I never met my mother. She passed. I like to think she'd be proud of me wherever she is. Maybe she's playing with my dog, Firalis. Firalis also passed. I don't know how to pronounce that. Like I said last part, I apologize if I pronounced some of the Spanish wrong. I've tried to look stuff up. Oh, by the way, I told my dad I would help at the house, but I'm on duty. Tell him I'll be there a bit later.
I've tried to look up a lot of the words in the game just to make sure I can pronounce them as not offensively, but I guess as stupidly as possible, because I don't want to be that guy that accidentally says one word the wrong way and it means another thing. You know what I mean.
Oh, I completely forgot it's my son's turn to be on lookout. I mean, you're more than welcome to help an old man if you want. There's a crustacean turf war going on inside my home. Before things get out of hand, separate them to restore peace to Mikasa. Here, I'll get the door for you.
Alright, now you remember the chicken side quest from last part? Now we have to do it with crabs, and there's 2 goals to get them in. The orange ones going on the hole on the right. The pinkish, purpley, magenta-y ones go on the one on the left. You can punch them, the throw prompt will come up, and that's how you get the ones on lower sections higher. And I admit, this is terrifying for me personally, because I am allergic to shellfish. At the same time, though, it's also satisfying, because I get to punch the ever-living shit out of them. On the whole, one thing I didn't mention last part is that there aren't actually that many side quests in the game. In fact, by this point, we've actually accepted most of them, just from being in Luchita and such, as well as the few in Puebluco. But on the whole, we don't have to worry about too many side quests from here on out. There's only, I think, maybe 1, technically 2 we haven't accepted yet from memory. Anyway, that's if I'm recalling last part correctly. because it's been a while to say the least. Also, I didn't even notice it when I was playing, but there's a picture of the boy and his mother there. That's cute, but also really sad. Mind you, I said it before, I'll say it again. I think I mentioned it in the last part at least. Guacamelee is one of those games that becomes really interesting when you're watching it or commentating over it because you get to see all the details in the background and references. You finished holding them. Maravilloso. Thank you so much. Now I can walk barefoot around the house again. Mostly because you get to see not only more of the references that you would have missed out otherwise, but you'll also see the more subtle things, like the Mario tiles and the Mega Man tiles in the last part in Santa Lucita. Times are rough now, but we'll bounce back. My parents had to flee an erupting volcano. How is that for rough? Luckily, the brave Josefina was there to save everyone. Or was it Josephina? I'm not sure how that would be pronounced with the tongue. Doesn't it smell amazing here? Take a deep breath, big guy. That's the smell of optimism. Wait. That's yesterday's tilapia. Never mind. Ugh, tilapia. Oh, that's a mural.
I was just a kid then, but I remember the day of the volcano. I'm watching my house wash away into a river of fire, and when swoosh, she swoops in and carries me out. We old folks still talk about her, raising the alarm, yelling orders, pushing our boats from the shore even as lava overtook her, and we made dang sure our kids knew that's how we do things here. That's why skeletons don't stand a chance in our canal. I bet you'd be proud of us. Even if I could look her in the eye once more, I'd say thank you.
I never thought I'd come back here. I'm glad I did. Alright, let's keep moving. I find it interesting that they outright added an area, almost what seems to be for the reason of just giving Tostada more of a backstory, because in the original game, she more or less existed to be the co-op character, you know what I mean? And also, I guess, to give Juan the mask, but that's the only reason he really existed. Let me tell you the legend of Trio del Muerte. Legend says they're doomed to spend eternity picking bones for their lost brother. Some nights you can still hear them. Pedro! Telling the story gives me the creeps. That might be prevalent. Information? Oh, high Castlevania reference. Well, that barricade should do it. No skeletons would dare to come near. If they dare, they'll get a knuckle salad, compadre. You might have some trouble getting around. When the undead took over the other side of the town, we had to destroy all the other old bridges. Skeletons are terrible jumpers. I guess they would be. They don't exactly have tendons to make themselves jump. Oh, and yeah, since I guess this is the most recent thing I'm uploading, yeah, that Simon for Smash reveal was a thing. I'm excited. I'm probably going to play Richter more often, because Richter is my favorite Belmont, but cool. And here's the Olmec for this area, so if you ever need to teleport between here and, say, Puebluco or Temple of Rain, you can very easily. They placed those in a pretty good rate, honestly. There's quite a few of them throughout the game, and I'm glad they were pretty kind with their placement, because some other games that I played with this kind of Metroid lifestyle that don't have their warp points that well interspersed is, it's annoying, to say the least. I'm thinking of... I think it was Circle of the Moon that only had, like, 4 of them, which is kind of dumb. Also, there's a bunch of side areas around here, but I'm coming back for them later this part. Now, these blue platforms, they work... The chroma blocks from Metroid are the first thing that come to mind. The moment you step on them, they fade away, but there's enough of a little time gap that you can jump off of them or jump onto another one. They're really kind of with their timing, but they might get a bit more tricksy with them later on. Call it a hunch. And I think this is the first time we've seen this flying enemy. They just like to fly around and shoot in the occasional projectile at you. They're the chupacabras for the game, basically. Well, we can't get that yet. Admittedly, that is a flaw with me doing what's basically a Metroidvania as a celebratory series, because there can be such a gap between making the videos. I can forget where certain items are and which ones I should keep in mind for getting later. Thankfully, because I'm going for everything at the end of the game, more or less, that I haven't gotten thus far, I won't have to worry as much, because then I can just be like, alright, let's run around here and see what I can find, so on and so forth, especially when I'm doing the side quests. But this can be annoying in the long run. Thankfully, Guacamelee's map system makes finding items pretty easy, because if a chest even shows up on the screen if you can't get it yet, it's marked. And any blocks you see of any color, be it the Rooster Uppercut ones like that, the headbutt, so on and so forth, they're also marked in the map with the appropriately colored rectangle. So they make things at least pretty forgiving like that. Hey, a Shuzu statue.
Wow, it was damp in there. Wow, it's even damper out here. Do you have, like, a towel or something? No, you wouldn't. Well, this move's thematically appropriate anyway. My patented frog slam will crush whatever's below you, like, say, the skeletons all over this poor town. Or really any other number of other things that aren't statues belonging to me. Just press down and B while in the air.
And we get our next traversal ability. We can now destroy any of the green blocks in the game. Why don't you try doing it up a short period, jerk? Oh, I will, don't worry. And then I just realized I actually could have gone back for that chest we just saw a moment ago with this. Oh, well. Actually, I guess I would have probably had to go around the long way, because I think there's one wall you can't jump up along the way. But, I'll get it later. That's my mentality with a lot of things in this game, as I've said before. The Frog Slam, admittedly, is one of the more awkward of the abilities we get in the game to use in combat. Especially because if you want to, say, chain all the abilities in one combo, you'll probably end up doing the Roaster Uppercut, then the Frog Slam. In order, just because that's the only real way you can easily be in the air during combat that isn't, say, you getting damaged. I mean, of course, you might jump to take out some enemies otherwise, and admittedly, the game's free-flowing combat makes it pretty easy to do so, but if it's, say, it's a more ground-based enemy, you might have trouble being in mid-air for a Frog Slam. Man, that's a lot of sauce. Part of me wishes the game didn't rely so heavily on Sonic Rush style kill them all kind of rooms for progression, but at the same time, given the game's combat and brawling mechanics, I can't see any other way for them to load a lot of enemies into the level design without having enemies literally at every turn and just making it seem like a tedious slog to get from room to room. It's probably the best balance they could come to, but I guess that's more of the issue with making more combat-based Metroidvanias. Though I guess Castlevania games do it pretty well, but those games also play their combat differently. It's usually one or two slices with the sword and the enemy's down. Designing a game like this comes with its own set of what should I do, when is this considered wrong, so on and so forth, and I find that interesting. Oh, hello again.
Oh, what a sweetheart. I bet this collarbone would look great on him.
Idiot, if anything, you should be looking for a new skull. We've got a job to do here.
Nope, this is our pile of bones. You gotta wait until we're done with it.
What? This Fleshman's obviously not interested in a pile of bones. This must be the brat running around smashing up our brilliant creations.
Ha! Well, he'll be no match for the mutant skeletons we've been working on our super secret volcano lab you can only get to from the Sierra.
Silence, you fool! Look here, meatbag. We have nothing against you air breathers. But upon delivery of 10,000 skeletos, Kalaka has promised to resurrect our fallen bandmate Pedro.
Oh, Pedro. So handsome, voice of velvet, fingers of magic. Cruel fates, why did you steal him from us?
Alas, never has there been a finer frontman. Before his demise left us as the terrible trio, we were the Campo Santo Cuatro, famous throughout the land. When I close my eyes, I can still feel the energy of the crowd, hear the beat of the drums.
Yes, I can hear the drums too.
You fool!
I said to send the beatboxers to the fishing village.
I tried, but they're always getting turned around by things overhead.
Well, this salvage mission has been a disaster. Farewell, Skin Guy. We leave you in good hands.
And here we have a new enemy for Super Turbo Championship Edition, I believe, the beatboxers. And as the game says, any purple-white magic glow cannot be dodged when it's on attacks. I think that's added for Super Turbo Championship Edition because, say, the weird plant enemies that spike up, I believe their spikes could be dodged in the original game. Not so much here. And I like this edition just because it makes the combat a bit more something you have to pay attention to, what you can dodge, what you can't, so on and so forth. Though I think enemies like this can have a bit much HP. I'll take that. But yeah, the Terrible Trio, new enemy / character for Super Turbo Championship Edition to add to the new area. And you know what? I like it. I like their design a lot too. Hello there, Goat Simulator reference in the background. I didn't notice that when I was playing. At the same time, like I said last part, they did add new meme. They took away some of the old meme pictures from the game, but they also, I guess, added in some new ones just to reflect the times more. And in a way, again, that does date the game. I think from what I've heard, Guacamelee 2 has the same sort of issue where there's meme posters all over the place, and yeah, that's a thing. At the same time, though, they're harmless in the long run. You don't even really have to pay attention to them. They're just there to be, hey, look, we're funny. It's not like they actually impact the gameplay. Though I could see some people being taken out of it just by seeing memes that are either old or ones they knew from the past. Either way, at this point, you're supposed to head right, but I'm actually going to backtrack to the village here really quickly. Not to get the one item with the green block that I forgot about, no, but to get the two that are gotten through the headbutt move that we saw earlier. Like with a lot of areas, we'll be coming back here. We only have 25% of the items in here, so we'll be definitely doing some stuff here later on. I think this place thankfully only has the one side quest though, so you don't have to actively come back to the town back and forth. I love that mural. Like I said, the game's art style is gorgeous, and when they incorporate the background elements right like that, it's great. Alright, this can be kind of an annoying treasure chest to get, mostly just because wall jumping on this thing can be a bit awkward in terms of jumping somewhere else. Like, I probably honestly should not have made that, but I won't complain. Yeah, oh boy. I also think this thing's rotation is not slightly random, but it's not universal, like it won't always turn at the same points. I think it's timed just enough that it'll be slightly the same, but it'll slowly change over time. Mind you, not like you're going to be in that room long enough for that to really matter, I guess, but that could cause an issue. Either way, with that, we're now done in the village area. We can head back down to that area we came up through and progress on with plot. I do like that they at least added another town for Guacamelee Super Turbo Championship Edition, though, because having only really the two towns in the original game between Santa Lucita and Puebluco served well, yeah, but it made the area feel kind of empty, which, mind you, given the fact we're heading towards a giant desert, makes kind of sense, but you know what I mean. At least I think there's only two towns. I don't think I'm forgetting one. And now welcome to Pico de Gallo. We won't be here long.
Welcome to Camposanta, stranger. Well, what's left of it anyway. There's no one left here. Those who survived the eruption moved to the canal long ago.
Oh, well, yeah, this place is still kind of on fire. Mind you, lava will do that. There it is. This place looks pretty different since the big renovation. Really different. Feels like a long time ago. Okay, the path to the desert should be through this hut. The rest of the world still needs saving. Let's move it. However, before I go through that door, I do want to head to the right briefly because there's one item we can get over here. However, be careful, do not jump off of here because you will fall off and hit that lava, and that lava isn't just damage, it's instant kill. Which means you respawn at the start of this area, you have to go through that cutscene again. You don't want to do that despite it being so short. And time for an admittedly kind of sloppy put together for an area. Because now we are in the desert area. I believe I came into the main entrance to this place at some point last part, but now we're coming through here. And hey, Olmec! This is actually an Olmec I like that they added because there wasn't one directly for the desert, I believe, from memory in the original Guacamelee. If there was, it was farther on. But yeah, they just had kind of copy and pasted that house into there, which is, yeah, it's a thing. And now we have new enemies, cacti. They throw bombs at you. The green ones you can catch, or no, rather you have to catch and throw at them to destroy them. That makes taking them out a bit awkward, especially when there's a bunch of them in a row, because it's not like they throw at a set few arcs that you have to try and get around. No, they directly aim at you. And when two of them throw at once, that can make grabbing the fruit that you need to throw at them kind of annoying. Thankfully, I don't recall them being used in too many set encounters for the most part. High Cactuar reference. For the most part, they are just there as set enemies like that. So thankfully, redundancy. We don't have to worry too much about them. Doesn't make them not annoying, but you know. Now, if I'm recalling correctly, the desert is an area you're probably going to be spending a good amount of time in when you go for completion stuff, because while I don't think this is the largest area in terms of, like, the amount of rooms or items in it, it's, like, the physically largest, I believe, at least with this main room, because the main room of this desert is one huge, open, probably very high in temperature desert, as you would expect. There are, thankfully, little things you have to do along the way, because you can't just progress from the very far left of this room to the very far right, at least at this point. Mostly because there are walls that are too tall for us to conquer, and I believe there might be a few that have the weird green coating on them that you just cannot wall jump off of, rather. Also, since I didn't mention it earlier, the barrels in the game, the standard ones drop health, but if they're glowing, they drop Intenso energy, so nice little refills for you there. Also, I should mention, when it comes to the Intenso upgrades that you get through the shop, I'm not focusing on them for a bit yet. Mostly just because I have other things I want to upgrade. I was able to get through the game comfortably on the main Gold Edition without Intenso, so I can probably get through most of the game fairly easily without upgrading it for a while. Also, you can use Frog Sun to uproot these guys, so you don't have to worry about waiting for them to try and attack you now. And you know what? I'm glad. These enemies are ones that aren't annoying, but taking them out can be admittedly a bit more tedious than some of the other ones if you don't just suplex them into each other like that. Thankfully, the combat is about to get a little more interesting, but more on that in a few moments. I do want to track here to the left because there's a money chest here. Money chests do count for completion if I recall correctly, so make sure you grab them, plus having that extra cash is really nice. If I'm recalling correctly, though, this does become one of those games where eventually money becomes pretty pointless. Because once you buy every upgrade, I don't think there's anything else in the game you can buy with cash. So it just kind of becomes one of those things that is there for you. Silver, at least, you need to do a lot of fights to get the other costumes, but yeah, it's one of those things. And it probably makes a lot, and it does make a lot of sense, rather. And I'm no game designer. I will openly admit that. I don't think I've even mentioned that on the channel yet. I actually left the game design major that I went to my school for. I'm graphic design now. I don't think I mentioned that. If I have, whoops. And I've had a lot more fun in that. I'm actually, like I think I mentioned earlier this part, I'm heading back to school. My summer vacation is about to end. My first class is on the 28th of August, 2018. And I'm looking forward to this semester, though I have to do web design, which, programming, gets you far, but, programming. Man, they are really throwing a lot of these blocks at you. It's weird. I can see why they want you to have these here, because then they make you know, hey, you're using your abilities throughout the entire game, you don't have the Zelda issue, but when you have all of them like that, it kind of makes rooms like that kind of pointless. Either way, now they're throwing a new fold into the combat, shields. Enemies from here on pretty often are going to have colored shields that match generally the colors of the abilities. For instance, yellow ones need to be broken with the headbutt, red ones need to be broken with the rooster uppercut, green ones with the frog slam. And this does add a new fold to the game, plus you're always keeping an eye out, because the shields aren't one and done. They will regenerate if you don't take out the enemies fast enough. However, that also means that you can run out of stamina pretty quickly, and given that those are really good abilities for taking out enemies in terms of just damage, that can make things a bit annoying. Thankfully, because every attack can hit a lot of enemies at the same time, you don't have to worry too much about that, but that could become an issue. Thankfully, well, I say thankfully a lot this part. There is an extra thing helping you in that because El Intento restores your health and stamina, you have, more or less, if you have a full bar, you have double what you actually have. And even then, this is an issue that becomes a lot less prevalent as the game goes on and we get more stamina and such. So you don't have to worry about it too much. It's more or less just an early game issue. Who goes there? Is that you, X-talby? I can hear you out there, you know. Yeah, I'm sure that's not important. I'm going to go over here to get these barrels first, though, because, hey, more money. Not by much, but it's still more money. Come on, X-talby, let me out of here. You don't need to be doing this. And now we have, I think this is actually the first time we've seen this conquistador enemy. They like to swing their sword at you, otherwise they don't get much of a chance. I believe they're, in a way, I guess you could look at them as just a heavier type of the standard skeleton enemy, but they're a lot slower. You got enough shields there? Thankfully, when it comes to encounters like this, if I'm recalling correctly, they do like to put a few Intenso charged enemies so you can easily get Intenso in the case you run low on stamina, and that's a good decision because it makes the game just flow a bit better. And that's that encounter taken care of. With that, let's grab this pinata and see who the hell was talking. A luchador? Wait. Could it be? Juan? Juan! Caramba, Juan, I thought you were dead! Oh, Juan, I'm so happy that you're alive. I cried for so long when I thought Kalaka killed you, and now look, I'm crying again. Enough of the tears. Quick, Juan. Help me out of here before X-talby returns. Not so fast. Ah, shit. Oh, luchador, like an orphaned cabbage, you rolled straight into my trap. I don't understand why your flesh isn't rotting. I pushed you back into the dead world, but it doesn't matter anyway. Be a doll and stay put, will you? I have to freshen it up so I can look my best when I present Kalaka with his new gift. Look at you, trapped in a cave, dreams unattained, love unrequited. Not much of a luchador. Maybe you should take this opportunity to think on your pitiful life. Did somebody say backstory? Time to wake up, luchador. So, this is the boy who slew my Albrija. How disappointing. See, I told you I caught him, Kalki. It wasn't my fault, it was his. Let's boil him in hot lava. Let's... Quiet! You will speak when spoken to. Now, go back to your rotting sinkhole in Puebluco until I have need of you again. Lest I forget that you were the one in charge of my pet when he was killed. But I... Now then, luchador. I could destroy you now, but that would be too easy. No, a cowardly pet killer deserves a coward's body. Goodbye, boy. May your death be as uneventful as your life. Well, we're a chicken now. Thankfully, he's an idiot because there's a chicken-shaped thing, a chicken-sized passageway over here, so we can at least escape and try to live another day. When you're a chicken, we move faster, and our jump, I think, has a bit of a floatier or at least a longer arc. We also run a bit faster, so we can just run through over one-tile things like that more easily. We do have an attack with the X button, but it's, let me put it like this. As a weapon, I think the mouse bite in Shantae Half Genie Hero is more useful. And I have done that Shantae achievement. It took like 20 minutes, but I did it. Oh, now they actually have us attack with it. Thankfully, they at least climbed up to have most of the enemies here be these armadillos that will roll right into the spike, so it becomes an avoidance game. I'm not sure if they can actually kill me with the amount of health I have, but it is important to note that I don't think I mentioned this last part. The blue armadillos roll straight forward while the green ones do a jump. I guess you're supposed to stay towards the spikes, but really I try to stay closer to the armadillos in the long run because then I can just jump over them more easily. I'll take that health extension, or at least a part of one. One thing I actually do really like and appreciate about this game is that because of the way the game is structured, you get a lot of health and stamina pickups pretty quickly. Oh wow, we're just backtracking through the entire desert, aren't we? Also, I never noticed that. The desert's actually raining in the Dead World. That's pretty interesting. Whoops. I forget if there's an item to the bottom right of this room. If there is, I'll have to come back and get it later at this point, obviously, but yeah, I guess it might be there. This is one of those games in the long run where I'm going to remember everything as I grab it later on. You know what I mean? But now we have a new item. An Intenso piece. As it suggests, similarly to health and stamina expansions, if you get 3 of those, your Intenso bar grows. Think of them like, I think it was blue orbs in Devil May Cry that increased your devil trigger? Yeah, because I think it was red orbs that increased your HP. Oh wait, no, red orbs were currency. What the hell am I talking about? It's been a while since I played a Devil May Cry game, unfortunately. But I'm looking forward to 5. Thankfully, from memory, this is the only time they make you attack with the chicken. But this is tedious and also makes my hand hurt because you have to mash that button like nothing else. There we go. Grab the silver and let's continue on. This is now the chicken adventure. Actually, what if this is all just some weird sequel to Billy Hatcher? That'd be pretty funny. Billy Hatcher's a weird game. El Infernio. Huh. Why, hello there. I've been expecting you. Don't worry about who I am. Let's just say I have a vested interest in you foiling Kalaka's plan. You see, we've both been afflicted with the same curse. Fortunately for you, I can teach you how to polymorph into a human. All you have to do is close your eyes, tap your spurs together 3 times, and think to yourself, unleash the luchador within. What? It's not working? Well then just press the left bumper and be done with it. And now we can transform back from a chicken and into a chicken at will. So now we can get through small passageways. Think of it as the morph ball. And I apparently did it so quickly the tutorial didn't end. Oi, bird brain, where do you think you're going? The sky is falling and I'm trying to help you do something about it. Now press left bumper and be done with it. You're getting me down, come on. Magnificent. Why don't I become human? Are you serious? To stuff bread into my sweaty face until I return to the dusty ground? I have an image to maintain. I've been busy keeping tabs on Kalaka and his gang. It seems that his obsession with El Presidente's daughter hasn't gone over well with the vixen. Apparently, sobbing can be heard over that Adele song playing on repeat from Zatabe's lair in Puebluco. Perhaps if you go talk to her, she'll give you some info on Kalaka. She doesn't seem too pleased with him right now. And now we actually have to head back to where we started the game. What I find interesting is that what we're about to see within the next part, really, is actually hinted towards at the beginning of the game, and I do like that. But for now, we have to get our way out of the desert. Thankfully, it's a pretty linear path out. Also, I like how the cactuses in the desert are skeleton hands. That's cute. Also, very, like, Trix yogurt pink. You could theoretically head back to the canal to get there, but really it's just going to be easier for us to go this way. Actually, no, I don't think you can go through the canal, because I think some of the platforms aren't here in the Dead World. But now we're in Santa Lucita in the World of the Dead. Oh man, those evil skeletons give me the creeps. They were created by Kalaka. They're messing up nature's balance. Also, hi Batman and Bane reference. I don't think there's anything for us in Hernando, so I just entered here to show what it looks like. For the most part, the rest of this part's just going to be us talking with the citizens here in Santa Lucita. If you ask me, the living world and the dead world have no business overlapping. This won't end well. It just won't. Okay, yeah, I could see that happening. Oh, a treasure chest, I can get that. Because thankfully the chicken can jump pretty high. I guess we have to... Maybe it's a conservation of mass thing. We have all the muscle power of our luchador form while we're still a chicken. With every passing moment, the worlds of the living and the dead are becoming one. There must be some way to stop it. I do like the detail that a lot of the people of the underworld aren't fans of Kalaka and what he's doing. Because, at least in a lot of cultures, the world of the dead is seen as a place of evil. Whereas in... Well, this is more so a thing with the game. This is more of a thing with the mythology of Mexico and such. The land of the dead is more or less just a world of the living for those of the dead. Peaceful, calm, just a place to celebrate your life afterwards. Coco, the Disney Pixar movie, showed that off really well. That was a really, really good movie. Dia de los Muertos? This is El Mundo de los Muertos. You're in the dead world, senor. But we do have one important thing to do here. So you know someone with a taste for the hottest chilies? Such a brave soul. I accept the challenge. Besides, my chilies only belong in the best recipes. Here, take some. You'll only need a few. You might remember that enchilada side quest we took on last part? That's the last ingredient for it. So now when we eventually get back to the world of living, we can take care of that side quest. There is definitely something not right with the world lately. Yeah. Also, I love the dead chickens. Those are adorable. Nothing for us in there. There'll be something for us in this house eventually, I guess. For now, I think there's only, maybe 1 or 2 people left to talk to. And I think the last person's actually here in the mine. No, there's this guy. The deserts of this world fear Kalaka's plants just as much as those from the living world. Cool. This is no place for the living or the dead. These ancient battlegrounds are only suitable for the strongest. Are you up for it? We have more abilities at this point, yes, but we actually still cannot progress in the Caverna del Pollo. Because the platforms aren't there in the dead world, so can't do that yet. Oh, that's right, we actually go through the forest this part. Forgot about that. Apologies for that. Yeah, the rest of this part still is partial progress. You're just directed to go straight to the Puebluco at this point, and they thankfully give you a pretty straight shot forward through it. However, I'm going to be making some pit stops along the way in the original little shaft that we fell down from when Jaguar Javier made us fall down to get some items. Also, hi, Simon in the background. Yeah, that would be Simon because that's not Trevor's hair. It's odd to say that the combat is both one of the most interesting parts of the game and the most repetitive part of the game, or at least one of the most boring. Because Guacamelee, when it comes to the combat at least, outside of boss fights, becomes one of those games that's great to play, but can be a bit tedious to watch. Maybe it's also because I'm on my own for this game. I don't have anyone commentating with me who hasn't played the game and thus can be asking questions and such. It's a bit weird. Also, we have one of the few times in the game one of this object shows up, we got a switch. That does something. We can't do something with that something for a while. So keep that switch in mind for later. When I eventually do the big cleanup in the game, I will probably be jump cutting all over the place. I don't know why I'm walking that way with the chicken. Like I said, I'm a bit scatterbrained this playthrough because not only have I not played Super Turbo Championship Edition as much, but as well, there had been such a big break between the parts. Thankfully, there's not going to be a big break between this part and the next part. Because by complete coincidence, me finally getting to this part around the time that I'm about to hit, I think, 1,400 videos. So within, like, the next week, you'll see the next part of this. How long it'll be between the next part and the part after that is yet to be seen. I am thankful, though, that this is one of those games that keeps power-ups pretty much consistent with their placement no matter what. Because say if there was a different item here if you were in the world of the dead or the world of the living, that would be annoying to backtrack at this point in the game. Also, I'm having a lot of trouble making this jump for some reason. That does kind of go into the thing I said earlier, though, with this game's level design. It plays well, the level design plays well for the puzzles they give, but because of how blocky it is, it's also fairly restrictive with the solutions. It's not like a Metroid game where you could say wall jump up something in Super Metroid or spider ball up it, so on and so forth. In a lot of ways, it actually reminds me of Samus Returns, because Samus Returns was pretty restrictive with its level design at the same time. However, the game also worked so well at the end of the day that it just didn't really matter. Same with this game. It's just that you notice it a lot more in this game, I think, because of the intentionally kind of blocky level aesthetics. Though if I had to return to a game between those two, I probably would come back to this before Samus Returns, because even though I love Samus Returns, that game can be kind of brutal. Plus, hunting down the 40 Metroids, no matter what you do, is just going to get tedious after a while. Now, we're actually coming up on a jump cut, because I go the wrong way coming up here. I'm heading back to where Wei Shivo's house is in a few moments. But I accidentally go the wrong way and end up going back towards Santa Lucida at first, so I have to do a little jump cut. You'll notice it when you see the fan translation. The fade transition, how did that work in my brain? I guess it's an FT word. In about probably half a minute's time-ish. So I just edited it out just to not waste your time. Mind you, for those of you following this as a guide, it's probably not the best LP to do this with because I'm not going for every item as soon as I can. I'm kind of just going with the flow. And I guess for some people, cleanup videos might be nice, but that's always something I at the ability of with some YouTubers. Well, I guess not I just get impressed with their, not stubbornness, but iron-willedness. Those people who do, like, checklist videos for YouTube with every power-up or every item in the game, and they hold back on collecting those items until, like, the end of the game so they have every ability and can do it as, not smoothly as possible, but for people who are at a certain point in the game as willingly as possible. It's, my wording is failing me, but I think you understand what I mean, I hope. Although we got a couple things over here, but I actually want to not jump down here yet. I want to head up to the red block in the top right of this room, as well as the little chicken corridor over there. I'll get to that in a minute. And over here we have a stamina piece. I believe that's the third. No, that's the first one. We got the third one earlier. That's right, because now I have 4 stamina as opposed to the 3 I started the part with. Over here, I believe, is a coin chest. That reminds me, I'm actually trying to remember what the Intenso chests were in their original game, in the original Gold Edition. Well, original and Gold. I want to say they were, if they weren't heart and stamina chests that they moved around for the new areas, they were probably money chests. Which makes the most sense, honestly. It's always interesting to see them re-release a game with a Game of the Year sort of edition like that and add new content. See how they mix around what was already in the game. Kind of like the arrange mode in Resident Evil DualShock. I'm kind of surprised no other Resident Evil did an arrange mode quite like that one. At least out of the number titles. Obviously, Remake 1 has quite a few interesting modes. Be One Dangerous Zombie, whatever the hell the mode where the item box sticks with the one item box thing. Or rather, to re-explain that, where the items you put in one item box stay in that particular item box. Because interesting gimmicks like that are always cool. I'm wondering if they're going to do anything like that for the Resident Evil 2 remake in a few months. I hope they do, because I'm looking forward to that. Though having that and Kingdom Hearts 3 within a week of each other is going to be painful. Because I'm already playing enough games as it is right now. I'm working on Octopath Traveler. I just finished my 5th story last night. Or wasn't it? No, was it my 5th? Wasn't my 6th? Either way, some amount of stories. And I'm also playing Yakuza 0. All sorts of stuff's going on. But with that, I'm going to need to end this off here. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you so much for 180 subscribers. I'm sorry this video took so long to come out. I really procrastinated the ever-living hell out of it, as I said earlier. And in part 3, we're going to be heading back to play Bluko to talk to X-talby. See you guys then.